What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it, my friends. Okay, it's the 27th day of February, and here we are, about $55. I realize that it's been some time since I've talked about Litecoin, but here we are. We're gonna go over some situations right now. The reason why it's been some time is because we broke some serious structure, in my opinion, here that we've been forming for basically the whole bull market for Bitcoin there. And we broke out of it to the downside, and I just haven't had time to make a video that that requires all the words from me, that requires all the explanations from me. And I don't really have time for it today either. But it's been so long, and I've wanted to make a video for Litecoin for like weeks now, and I've been putting it off. I'm like, oh, I'll have more time tomorrow. I'll have more time tomorrow, and I'm just gonna make time. Who cares, right? Like I don't care. I'm gonna have to leave today. When I leave today, I gotta help my mom with some stuff. Um, moving some stuff out of her place, but uh, I'm gonna do this. I don't know why I'm talking so much about my personal life. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. Okay, um, $55 right now at a low point there. $45. Okay, that's what we've seen this month is the low point. $45. We look at this here. We connect the dots on this trend line, and it's actually, again, we did break structure. Absolutely, we broke structure here, and that's not exciting. But we're holding structure here, right? There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff to go over. Technically, Litecoin, technically, you're okay right now. Here's what scares me. I don't think Bitcoin's done with its bear market. There's a lot of people, and they could be right. There's this whole theory that we're going to get a tame bear market, and I very much believe that we're going to have a tame bear market. It's already been more tame than our last bear market, which was the most tame bear market we had so far. We had a very tame bull market. We're likely going to have a very tame bear market. It makes sense. I just don't think that this is the low. I think that we have lower to go. And if we have lower to go, you know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily bode well for Litecoin. Historically, Bitcoin drops 1%, Litecoin drops 2%. If Bitcoin's going to see lower lows, Litecoin's probably going to see lower lows too. What I will say, we're looking at this here. Bitcoin is below its lows from April of 2025. Is Litecoin below its lows? Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is as well. Well, you are still holding support. You still do have macro higher lows overall. But again, breaking out of this structure here, assuming that Bitcoin still has lower to go, it's not encouraging to think about what that might do for Litecoin. So what we need to see is the same exact thing that we saw here is the same exact thing that we saw here. We need immediate support. It needs to come in like now, man. When I say now, I don't necessarily mean today. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. But if by the end of March we are still closing below these levels here, if by the end of March we haven't produced a move that gets Litecoin back around or above $80, and not just to produce a move that gets back up there, but that we close up here, right? Because we get up here and then by the end of the month we're closing down here, that's still a problem, right? It's not just, oh, we can close down here. As long as we got a high up here, that's okay. No, we don't want to close anywhere near here, and we'd probably want to close closer to somewhere up here, okay, which is around $80 in March. In March. It needs to happen in March, because if we move sideways in March, if we do nothing, we just close here or a little bit lower or a little bit higher. Let's close even a little bit higher here. You guys, that is a weaker reaction than either of these two reactions. What happens whenever you have a trend line or a line at all? You come down, you find support, bam, you get immaculate support there. You come down, you find support, bam, it's not as good. And then what happens whenever it's fizzling out? You're going to break down. That's what happens. That's how it works. Okay, so we want to avoid that. You need to have, just like you did before, a strong reaction. We're not getting it right now. With that being said, the majority of this month on the candle basis is a wick that is bullish. It's not a bearish thing. It is the lowest monthly close that we've had since November of 2022, which is not encouraging in itself. But again, from a structural standpoint, on a macro perspective, you haven't actually done anything wrong yet. Maybe here, there's something wrong that happened right back here in January. But really nothing, like this still looks pretty good. This still doesn't look bad. At least right now it doesn't look bad, but it will look bad again if we are crowding this area. We don't want to crowd it. We want to bounce. I don't care if we crowd it for 6 months and then we bounce here. I'm going to be bearish at $100. You know what I mean? I don't care if we crowd it and we come up here. We're still probably going to break through it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be good. So don't crowd it. Do what you did before. Find support. Crowd up here. Do your little consolidation up here. Whatever. Come back down. Find support on it again. Monthly time frame. RSI on the monthly time frame is the lowest that it's ever been. And this is something I want to address to some people out there, right? If you're watching this and you look at the Bitcoin chart, right? We go to Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Litecoin has not been around as long as Bitcoin has, but it's been around longer than most cryptos, okay? There's a lot of people, some of my friends even, who are counting on Bitcoin to find support that the bear market's over because we've never gone this low before in the RSI. But as we've seen, every single cycle, we've actually gone lower and lower and lower. So even though we've never gone lower before, and this is the area that we typically bounce at, well, statistically speaking, we're probably going to go lower, guys. We've also gotten lower highs. We're in a downward sloping trend in the RSI. If there are two tools that I know better than probably the majority of analysts in this space, it's the Fibonacci retracement tool and the extensions by default, and the RSI. I'm very, very proficient with both of these indicators. And the RSI, I'm very confident in that. The RSI works the same way, not the same way, but it works similar to like how price action works. It trends. And the longer a trend is, the more dominant it is, right? And what we can see here is, yes, you have lower highs. Yes, you have lower lows, right? You've had lower lows here with higher lows. It's hidden bullish divergence. That's why the trend continues, right? You're getting overbought. These are not bearish divergences from cycle after cycle. They're too far apart. They're strong readings every time, but you are trending down. Now, you're weaker. You didn't even get to this trend line. You're the weakest readings you've ever seen in the bull market. What makes you think you're not going to see the weakest readings you've ever seen in the bear market? You're going to trend probably lower. So, again, just this thought here of Bitcoin coming down to lower prices, what's that going to do for Litecoin? Right? Litecoin's at its lowest levels in RSI history, but it can go lower, right? Again, you were trending. Look at what happened here. This is a perfect foreshadowing. Lower highs here, and you saw your weakest reaction. That promoted your weakest readings. That's what it is. We can still go lower. And looking at this RSI, if this was on a 1 hour time frame, a 4 hour time frame, whatever, I would very confidently say that we likely do have lower to go, and we likely do interact with that oversold area. But maybe not. I don't know. Actually, wow. Looking at that right there. Actually, I take it back. I take that right back because, damn, this is actually a good area to bounce for Litecoin, right? BTC, it's a bit different. It's not a perfect line, but more or less perfect. A little blemish right there, whatever. You know, it's a bit different. You're further away from that point. Litecoin actually does look like it's at a point. With this, actually, in conjecture, with this here, that actually looks pretty good, guys. But again, proper reaction. You need a proper reaction. You know, it doesn't look good, the stochastics. Let's see. Because typically, look at the stochastics. Typically, you're oversold for a while. We've just been oversold. But let's see. Where are we right now? We are at this point here. We're coming up. I mean, it's low enough. Look at this. Look at this. We have higher lows. Hey. Oh, I keep like wanting to say that this doesn't look good, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a second, hold on. This actually doesn't look bad. But again, it doesn't look bad right now. We have to have a proper reaction. If we don't get the proper reaction in March, it's not going to look good, guys. We're going to do different things then, right? This isn't going to help us as much. But let's just see. I want to go over these points here. The focal points. Because we're at potentially a focal point here, right? Not the focal point of the orange, but the blue. For those of you who don't know what a focal point is, which I feel like I feel like most people do, but a focal point is just a point of a focus, kind of, right? It's a point where the trend changes. Like if you're in mathematics, if you're plotting a chart or a function or whatever, the focal point is the point at which, you know, you're sloping you're sloping up, and then when you start to slope down, that transition between up and down, it's that point right there. It's or same thing to the downside. It's where the trend kind of shifts, right? It's that focal point. It's the what would another word be for it? I don't know. Anyways. Here at the focal point, we went lower for about 4 months. Here at the focal point, we went lower for about 1 month. Here at the focal point, we went lower for about 2 months. So again, that's not encouraging for the price action. We don't have to go lower than this low, but that's what we did every other time that we've seen these kind of readings in the stochastics. That's actually not encouraging. There's some good stuff, some bad stuff. It's it's a woozy, it's a wazy. I don't know, man. The MACD here could be very problematic. If this is a false cross and we actually cross back down to the downside, that'd be very problematic. If we can hold support here, if next month is good, that would be very, very encouraging. And I can just keep going back and forth on this all day long, right? We're in this kind of moment of wait and see. I want to be bullish on Litecoin. I want to tell you guys everything's going to be okay and this is what we're going to get. That kind of is the call, actually. Statistically speaking, that's probably the better call to make, is that we will see a good month in March. The reason why I'm focusing on the negative stuff so much is that if we don't, we need to prepare ourselves for, the bad times. Because if that happens and if history repeats itself and we are at this focal point here in the stochastics, but we go lower for the next couple of months as we have historically, we're going to break out of this trend to the downside. I suppose, let's be fair, I suppose we could wick lower as long as we're closing up. You can have a fake out in this pattern. It happens. But that would be your best hope, is that we get a fake out. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So let's just hope March is a good month. I want to look at the daily time frame and then the weekly time frame, and then I'm going to wrap this video up, okay? We're not looking at the short-term stuff because the short-term stuff doesn't really matter right now. You actually look better than most cryptos on your short-term stuff, by the way. On the daily time frame, you actually look pretty good here, surprisingly enough. I don't know, man. I kind of don't mind. Really weird, weird readings, but you're gonna get weird readings when you're choppy and sideways. 3-day time frame. Look at that channel. Look at that. That is perfect. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a very mature channel. You're at the point where you really could, this attempt here could break you out. Or you come down, you find a higher low, you get your bullish divergence on, and then you break out. You can close below this level, get a lower low on a closing basis, but still have a higher low overall, so you're protecting that trend, and get bullish divergence and then break out of that later. I think you have the right setup for March to be good. You just don't want to see a lower low. Okay, that's what we don't want to see. How low can we go, C-Zar, before it's a problem? I don't know, man. Let's not go below $46.50. I'd rather you not go below $49. The fact that you did find support, guys, right here at the golden ratio, immaculate support too. I mean, you literally strong body down, strong body down, doji candle, strong body up. That's a pretty strong reversal signal there. Solid body up, doji candle, solid body down, reversal signal. So, and we closed above the 236. Oh no, but that was the low to high there. Okay. Never mind. It doesn't look half bad. I'm actually a lot more hopeful for Litecoin than I thought I would be making this video. You have bullish divergence. Look at this. You actually have very good bullish divergence on the weekly MACD as well. Stochastics are coming up out of the oversold zone. You guys, hold on now. Hold on now. That moment there, that moment there, that moment there. These are the moments right before, just like this, where we were crossing above. And actually here, the blue is already crossed above, but this is like right before the orange crossed above is what I was trying to get to. And the blue also. Maybe I should move them over, right? Maybe this actually, this one's probably appropriate. This one might be off by a little bit. I would rather it be more conservative than, yeah, I guess they're appropriate. Let's go with that. I guess I was on point. Low point there, and you had higher lows prevail ever since. It wasn't the most exciting of times, but it wasn't depressing, which is good. We don't want depression right now. We need something that's at least prevailing. And from this point to a month later, you did pump up a good bit. I mean, if we pumped up that much in that same amount of time, that's sufficient, guys. That's exactly what we need to see. It could be boring like this, and then oh, wait. I'm sorry. We're not on the daily time frame. We're on the weekly time frame. No, we don't want it to be boring like this. No, we don't. We don't want it to be boring like this. This one here, pretty boring. pretty boring, and then pump. That's not a good signal either on the stochastics, but still, you were at a relative low point. You did go lower. Hopefully we don't see that. Here, you were at a relative low point, and you started to come up rather immediately. Hopefully we get a reaction, something similar to this. That's really all we need, is something like that. This is even smaller of a move than what this was back here. Still, relative low points overall. Not points where you just exploded immediately. Here, kind of, yes. Hope. There's definitely hope, guys. There's definitely hope. But all that hope goes away if we take out this low. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I do believe in Litecoin. I do believe that it has a purpose. I do believe that it has use. And a lot of people think that it's just a dead project. But I don't know, man. Sometimes it's the projects. Oftentimes it's the projects that people give up on. Or that people talk smack about, throw shade at, they fade it, that do the best, right? Dogecoin was like that. A lot of people faded Dogecoin, hated it. I did. And that's why I bought it. The things that you just hate for no reason or you don't want to see succeed for whatever reason, those are the ones that do well. And I feel like Litecoin is in that limelight of the rest of the crypto space doesn't want to see it succeed. Everyone's banking on it failing. And maybe not banking on it, but they're not participating in. It's the coins in this market that people are not participating in that typically get away from the rest of the crowd. Like Zcash, like Dash, right? Like that's typically what happens. This is good structure so far. I don't really have anything else to say. I think we're in a moment where I would like to wait and see like a week or two before I make my next video on Litecoin. If anything dramatic happens, I'll make a video if it's appropriate. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. So I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves. All right, bye-bye.